Hey everybody, this is Buffalo Rambler and
Mrs. Rambler.
we're bringing you a new episode covering the financial collapse and reset of the US economy. And we went into a lot of things into the legacy economy, how the dollar works, the Fed, all that kind of interesting stuff.
Yeah, just a quick background on current events,
Yeah.
on what's to come, what's happening right now.
It was kind of like a almost I guess you consider an emergency episode, but not really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we talk about that interesting BlackRock thread that
Yeah.
came up on Twitter.
Yep.
I forgot who posted that.
I covered in the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned the person, and I'll put it in the show notes as well. But we talked about that, the Great Reset, decentralizing and kind of combating that by buying Bitcoin and decentralizing your finances, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of separating yourself from the dollar economy. So, hope you guys like the episode and give us a shout out if you want to reach out to us. We are on Twitter at FRC Pod. And I believe we are at Gab and Float at False Reality Check, and they can reach us at in our email.
Yes, our email is frcpodcast@protonmail.com.
And definitely want to hear you guys. Let us know what you think.
Reach out. Let us know.
Yeah, we're trying to build a community. So if you reach out to us, we just want to help each other out and see how we can get through this whole kind of nightmare together, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely talking to others that are like-minded it's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
So it'd be awesome to build a little community.
Yep.
Yeah, I know there's a bunch of communities already being built with free thinkers, and we just want to be a part of that.
Add to that.
Yeah.
Definitely. So just check us out, and if you like what you hear, you can just subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and hope you guys like the episode. Alrighty.
All right.
Thanks. Well, hello.
Ooh. Hello, everyone.
Oh, I was talking to you. But yes, hello, everyone. You too, guys.
Yeah. Hey,
hello,
hey,
those
babe.
who are listening.
Hey, babe.
Yeah.
It's good to see you, too.
I was looking at you, and you were looking down, so I guess I should have paid attention.
Sorry.
It's been
Just looking at the floor.
It's been a long week.
It has.
It's man, when you have those weeks when you're just like, this week won't end.
The universe really tested us this week with a few things.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Just it's a sad state of affairs when like work sucks and like the day sucks. Like certain days, not every day. This week, I don't want to make it seem like every day this week sucked. It didn't. It was just moments out of certain days that you were just like, really?
It dragged on a little bit too.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
But it's also not fun driving, and those light bright marquees that are over the freeway.
Yeah, the Amber Alert things.
Every single one, get vaccinated.
Oh man.
Every single one. And then it gives you like a location on where to go to get vaccinated.
Oh my God.
But I drove like for probably 100-mile stretch seeing that same, I don't know how often those marquees are, but every single one had the same message.
Get vaccinated.
Get vaccinated.
With an experimental vaccine that isn't fully approved.
Yeah, and it's also hard talking to people and, hearing oh man, I'm so glad things are going back to normal again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That's
I
rough.
hate that shit because it's like, what the fuck do you think is normal? What's normal to you?
Maybe for some places, but from what I'm seeing where we're at, it's looking bleak.
Yeah, I mean, if we were in like Florida or Texas, I'd be like, oh yeah, things are probably fairly normal for the most part because people probably don't give a shit. But where we are, everybody's still thinks it's the end of the world apparently, and yeah, they think, oh, good thing that all these people are getting vaccinated because now we can get back to normal. They don't say it in quotes. I'm saying it in quotes because they're
Quote,
fucking
unquote,
stupid.
Normal.
Yeah, it's not normal.
I mean, were we even normal in the first place?
No, we weren't. We were asleep. Sheep.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's kind of weird. I'm trying to be more active on the socials for the podcast, and it's been a while since I've been on Twitter.
Yeah.
And so jumping on it again, I was just like, wow, this is totally different than what I used to seeing. then trying to navigate like Gab and Float. I'm getting used to those platforms too, but
Yeah, I'm struggling with those. The Gab is fairly easy, but when it first, oh man, when that thing first started, oh boy, you, Gab was so slow. And then I don't know if you remember, but I told you like, oh, it's like freezing, it won't load.
yeah, I do remember
There were
that.
like weeks and weeks like that where it wouldn't load, it would freeze. You would like try and log in and it would log you out automatically, and you couldn't see anything. And then if you when you automatically join Gab, or like when you join Gab, like when you join MySpace, they made you follow Tom.
Yeah.
You're like, follow Tom, Tom from MySpace.
He's my best good friend.
Yeah, he's our best friend. He's in our top 8. But well, Gab is like that too. Like they give you a bunch of pages and they're like, oh, follow this, and it's like Christians for Trump, or I don't know,
Yeah.
name some like random Christian and or Q group, and it'll be on there, and it's like, oh, join this group, Truthers for Q, or some
Oh man.
crazy shit like that. And it's like, okay, how about I don't join any fucking groups, because
It's a trap.
I don't belong in any of you motherfucking groups.
It's a trap.
Yeah, Twitter seems like they did like suggestions, like, oh, follow this, but it was all the blue check mark mafia, like Ellen DeGeneres, or like people like that level of fame.
Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah, Oprah and like stupid Barack Obama and all these. I'm like, yeah, because that's exactly what I want to follow. I want to follow this fucking terrorist.
Of course. Yeah, Twitter, man, I was a big fan. I was obsessed. I was such an NPC. Good Lord.
We all were.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought it would be pretty cute setting up the account. The birthday was set to one of ours.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, maybe we should change the birthday. Like, first we thought, oh, Emma Goldman.
Yeah.
Let's put her birthday.
Yeah, let's put her birthday.
And she's an anarchist.
Yeah, very famous.
From Russia.
She's American.
She is, but
she was deported.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't like her.
Yeah, they really didn't.
She died in Canada.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, it doesn't go back that far. I think it stopped like 1900.
Yeah, and she was born in like 18 something.
Yeah, so that didn't work. And then I was like, oh, why don't we do the first recording that we did?
Yeah.
So
and I was like, that was a great idea. Yeah, we should definitely do that. That way we keep track of how old we are as a podcast.
Yeah. Oh my God. Not even thinking of an age requirement. That's how out of touch I am with social media these days.
Yeah.
So I just leave it. We're trying to figure out what day we first recorded, but I just leave it at like 2021, whatever.
Yeah.
Immediately account locked.
Yeah.
You did not meet the 13 or older age requirement. And I was like, shit. I did not even think about this.
And it didn't hit me when it locked. Like, you kept saying, I'm sorry. And I was like, it's locked. And I'm like, it didn't quite like hit me until we were trying to, like, you were clicking on stuff and it wasn't working, and it didn't work. And you're like, no, it's locked. And you just kept saying, you're like, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I feel bad for
I didn't
getting
see it
us
coming.
locked out. And I was like, wait, why is that a fucking option?
Yeah.
Why did they put that? If you have to be 13 years or older, then why do they put it as an option that you can be less than, and put it as an age?
Yeah, or give you the option to change it.
Yeah.
I mean, when you first log into make your account, it should just be set, and no one else can see it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. But they still make it an option to where you could change your birthday. But long story short, appealed it.
It got
Next
unlocked.
day it got unlocked.
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so out of touch with this thing. How embarrassing.
But
I felt bad.
To me, it like frightens me that they're so automated that like literally like the second you click save, it was like, and you refresh the screen, it was like, boom.
Yeah, I
locked.
had to take a picture of my ID.
Yeah.
And send that in. It was, I really didn't want to do that, but whatever. I'm sure they have plenty on me anyways.
Yeah,
for my NPC days.
They're listening to all of us right
man.
now. They're probably listening to this podcast and they're like, how do we get them shut down? How can we shut these people down?
Let's get these bastards.
Yeah. fuck these people. They're not progressive like us. We're awesome progressive people.
Here, have some Soylent Green.
Yeah. Have some, what's that fucking drink that you see a bunch of soy boys drink? That Heel?
What is that?
That,
Huel?
yeah, it's like that soy drink. You
Ooh.
see it at like 7-Elevens or something.
It's a soy. Is it like an energy
It's
drink?
like a Soylent. It's like a Soylent.
Like it makes you soil your pants.
I mean, I'm sure if you drink enough of it, yeah. And they probably soil their pants anyways if they're soy boys. But still,
That's weird.
yeah, yeah. Twitter's probably filled with soy boys drinking that shit.
Shout out to the soy boy cucks.
Oh man. Well, I did, we had a lot of plans about what we were going to do for our next episode. Were we going to go into, something deep like the education system and break it down and do some deep dives and really determine what kind of programming are we stuck with or forced into that, stick to us growing up and becoming adults, and how do we get it? And it basically, comes back from schooling and all this kind of stuff. And I think we are going to go into that, but not in this episode.
No.
We're going into different, we're going to stick with kind of what's going on now in current modern news, what's happening. And the whole fact of the matter is, what the fuck is happening with our economy? We have no clue what's going on. Well, I shouldn't say we have no clue. I should say the news and economists have no clue what's going on.
So they say.
I know what's going on.
So they say. They portray it like they don't know, but they know.
They know what's going on. And it's massive inflation is what's happening right now. And this episode, I'd like to focus on basically the coming financial collapse of this country. What can we expect? What is going to happen? Maybe some speculation on things that could happen here and there. And we just kind of want to break it down little by little. And I figure we'll leave some of those deeper dives like the education system a little bit later, because that's probably going to be like a multi-part episode.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover with that.
Yeah. And I definitely think that warrants a lot more of our time. Whereas this stuff that's going on right now that I want to talk about is like stuff that happened this week. Because a lot of stuff happened this week.
Yeah, it's like constant. But this is something that's pretty serious and will affect everybody across the world.
Yeah, this isn't limited to America. This isn't, this is an American problem. This is a world problem. And the reason why is because the world has central banks. Almost every single country that we know of has central banks that they try and use to plan their economy. And they say that the reason why they utilize central banks is because it helps limit the economic volatility that we have. But if that's the case, then why does it seem like every 4 to 8 years there's some sort of bubble that happens, whether it's in one industry or another or in multiple, and there's some sort of crash and then another cycle again of growth, rapid, and then it crashes again.
Yeah.
Economies don't normally do that if they're like sane, solid money-based economies. And I definitely don't think we have one of those right now.
No, it's been a constant cycle just across civilizations, just the manipulation of currency.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to go back to the famous one, the Roman Empire, coin clipping, I'm sure was a big thing for that empire, but also just across multiple civilizations that dealt with coin currency.
And for people that don't understand what coin clipping is, it's when they've minted coins out of a specific type of material like silver or gold. And the coins are usually like hexagonal or they're round.
And they're given a certain weight, right?
Yes.
When they're minted.
Yes. When a coin is minted, it's given an exact specific weight, because that weight is equal to a certain amount of value that is considered monetary value. So it can be exchanged for goods or services.
So they basically clip the coin.
Like the corner of it.
They'll fill it
Yeah.
back in with some other metal.
With an alloy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And pass it off as the weight that it was.
Yeah. Because the weight is the same. They'll just add more alloy. But that little corner, they take a bunch of these little corners, then they melt that down and create more coins. And then that's called debasement. That's basically where they take the value, the true value of something, they cut it into little pieces, and then they modify it and pass it off as though it has actual value to people. And people don't really notice. Over time they do.
Yeah.
Because their coins buy less and less goods.
The Roman Empire was famous for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And their minters, they debased a lot of their coins, melted them down, replaced it with an alloy. So what does that do? That increases the amount of silver coins in the supply, right?
Yeah, it increases the supply.
Yeah.
Which lowers the value of the entire supply.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But while they're doing this, the Roman leaders, people are being distracted by Gladiator going on, bread and circuses.
And I'm not talking about Russell Crowe either. That's a great movie though.
I mean,
fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott.
Check it out. This is how history is told.
Yeah.
How they say it goes. Who knows if this is true? But
yeah, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But we're just gonna base it on
from what they say.
What they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. So the minters, the government, they were doing this, and people do this. It's considered counterfeiting
today. If people do it today.
Yeah, subject to fines, jail time. But the government, banks, who else? Hedge funds.
The Federal Reserve does it.
They do it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a means to an end.
Yeah.
Type of deal where, we need this money to win this war. We need this stimulus.
Yeah.
So let's just pump all this extra money into our system.
It
doesn't seem fair.
It isn't fair. And when you detach money from actual value, it robs the community of its accumulated wealth over the years. And it keeps people from establishing generational wealth. The reason why it does that is because, let's say, for example, you've saved your whole life. You have $10,000 in your savings account. 10,000 to some people is a lot. To some people it's not. But to those who it's not a lot, or to those who it is a lot, let's say the Fed decides tomorrow to, I don't know, let's increase the money supply by 40%, like what they did during COVID. Well, that $10,000, because the increased money supply, goods and services, the price of them goes up, which means that $10,000 that's in your savings doesn't buy the same amount of goods. And the same thing has happened in Rome, and the same thing is happening here. Throughout every empire, this has occurred.
Yes.
The U.S. is an empire. It is acting like an empire. It conquers territory like an empire. It has a military that's all over the world, just like Rome's military was all over the world. And the last ones in Rome to know that the empire collapsed and the money is meaningless were the Romans.
The people.
It was the people.
Yep.
The government knew. The military knew. They deserted. It's the same thing that's going to happen here.
Yeah, it's been a constant cycle.
Yeah.
And what's the term? History repeats itself.
History is doomed to repeat itself.
Yeah, it's happening.
It will always repeat itself. Right now, our official numbers for inflation, and this is admitted by the government, so it's bullshit, but it's still pretty high. They admit. So this is the official number, 5% inflation, which means that's the highest it's been in a long time. And this is what they admit. The unofficial number is not 5%. It's 13+%.
Oof.
That's the unofficial number. Now, let's scooch over the world to Turkey. Turkey, right now, the government is admitting 16% inflation in the Turkish lira.
Wow.
And they are banning people and banning banks from, buying Bitcoin or gold or other assets. You have to stay in the lira. They're basically forcing their population to stay in a meaningless scheme of money that does nothing. Just like the dollar. The dollar does nothing.
Yeah.
And couple this with the fact that home and building materials, the average price is up 45 to 80% in some markets. So you're spending like $60 on a 2x4.
Yeah.
When like a year and a half ago, it was 12.
So let's just real quick, inflation, just to define that, as the money supply increases, the value of money decreases.
Yes.
And it does not mean an increase in the price of goods.
No.
It's not. I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah. People think that it means the price of goods goes up. That's what inflation is. It's the value of your dollar goes down.
And as a result, goods and stuff,
the price goes up.
Go up.
Because it takes more of those less dollars.
Yes.
To fill the same amount, to pay off for the whole amount of your goods and services, your materials. It's it's kind of one of the reasons why we have a huge unemployment rate right now. But if you look at the stock market, it is surging. Why is that? Why is it that we have a big unemployment rate and the stock market is up? That doesn't make any sense. And any normal logical person who's looking at that is going, is the Fed pumping money into the stock market? Because the answer is yes.
Yes. And since September 2019, $9 trillion has been injected into the market by the Fed.
Yeah.
That is a crazy number.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And a lot of experts are saying that 22% of all the USD that was printed, it was printed like in 2020 last year. 22%.
Yeah.
Of the overall what was
of
printed
money that
ever,
was printed ever. Yeah.
was printed last year.
Ever since the creation of the dollar.
That's a pretty
Yeah.
mind-blowing stat.
That's a mind fuck. That's what that is.
It's a little scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, should we get into fractional reserve banking? Because that kind of relates to inflation and why things are happening.
I do.
The way they are right now.
Yeah, let's get into that. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Fed, because people think that the Fed is a department of the government.
Yes.
It's not. The Fed is the Federal Reserve is, in the words of the late great Patrice O'Neill, the Fed is as federal as Federal Express, which he's right.
They have stakeholders.
They have stakeholders and shareholders.
They're private.
They're a private bank that creates money out of credit. The credit is based in debt. The debt is the American debt. It's the debt that the government takes. So when the Fed pumps money into the system, the money is literally nothing. It means nothing. When you look at, and I have some props here for us.
Ooh.
Some cash. Ooh. So you guys can hear me count my stripper ones.
Them ones there.
Yep, got a lot of ones here. It's my
Is
stripper.
That for later?
That was for my stripping days.
Is that for later?
Maybe. If you're lucky. If you look at the dollar, it used to say, I remember my dad showing me one when I was a kid. He had a few of these dollars. When you look at the top, it would say silver certificate. So that means you would take the dollar, you could take it to a bank, and they would give you $1 worth of silver. It was backed by silver. They had them for gold also. It said gold certificate. So you could do the same thing. Your dollar was worth $1 in weight in gold. Your dollar was worth $1 weight in silver. It meant something because it was pegged to something in real life that we all know is tangible. What does it say now?
Let's see. Federal Reserve note.
And what does that mean to you? What backs up a Federal Reserve note? Does gold or silver back it up?
Doesn't say. The Federal Reserve.
The Federal Reserve
backs it up, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're a private company. Imagine McDonald's created money and they said, this is legit money. Now you can go ahead and take loans in this and pay for homes in this. Does that make any sense to you? Would you use McDonald's fun bucks?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Because the dollar is king. USD is king.
Because it's backed up by guns.
And drugs.
And drugs. And the drugs pay for the guns. And they sometimes they switch guns for drugs.
Yeah. I would ask, what would that be backed by? The ice cream machine?
The McDonald's one?
Yeah.
It's backed by the full-fledged pledge of McDonald's. And it's wonderful Big Macs.
So it's just like this fiat currency that I have in my hand right now.
It's just like monopoly money. The money in your hand right now is worth the same amount that the dollar in or the $100 bill in Monopoly is worth. It's worth absolutely nothing. If you think about it, the Fed is a criminal organization that only benefits bankers, those connected to them, mostly politicians and corporate neo-fascists. There really isn't that much benefit to the Fed other than creating inflation and ruining our lives with money that's based in nothing. And I saw Mises Institute. They posted something this week that I shared with you, and I thought was very apt to explain what the Fed actually is. And this is the Mises Institute. They say, the Fed is, in effect, a lawless economic government unto itself. It serves as a bizarro world ad hoc credit facility to the U.S. financial sector, completely open-ended, with no credit checks, no credit limits, no collateral requirements, no interest payments, and in some cases, no repayments at all. It is the lender of first resort, a kind of reverse pawn shop which pays top dollar for rapidly declining assets. The Fed is now the infinite bank. It is run by televangelists, not bankers, and operates on faith.
That is so good.
That's basically the Fed.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you think about like the definition of fiat, it means by decree.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like you have to have faith in the Federal
and
Reserve.
Whoever decreed it.
Who decreed this note as being worth something.
Exactly.
I don't know about you, but I don't have faith in private corporations.
I don't have faith in the government or private corporations. I got faith in myself. I have faith in you. I have faith in things I can see, feel, and taste and touch. I'm spiritual. You know, I have faith in God, but God didn't make that. God didn't make this dollar.
So this Federal Reserve Bank, its vault.
Yeah.
Does it have enough money to pay out all these loans?
Well, it's not paying anything. It's giving loans out and it's taking money. And
it's just making up.
It's making
putting
up
numbers on a screen.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Just like fractional reserve banking. Oh, look at that segue. Hello.
You like see what I did there?
Yeah.
No, a lot of people think like you go to the bank and they're going to have enough money in their vault to pretty much pay all the account holders.
Oh, yeah.
That's not the case.
And to back up the deposits.
Yeah, that's not the case.
No.
They basically go to their computers, put in numbers on a screen, and that's it.
Yeah.
Then you get your money.
Yeah. Today, a bank is allowed to lend up to $9 on every dollar of asset they actually have. So if you're a bank and let's say I have $1 in the vault, I can loan you 9 by just making it up on the screen.
Wow.
Yeah, because that's what they do.
That is just pumping money.
Yeah.
Into the money supply.
What the Fed does is like the Fed is like the king of banks, and it feeds all this fake money into other banks. So every bank has a charter. That charter has to be fulfilled. The charter is dictated by the Fed. So I've looked into this. Like, how do you start your own bank? No, I'm serious. I've looked into this.
I remember you talking about
I'm
this.
like, I wonder how to start your own bank. Because if you can start your own bank, you'd be a rich motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm like, how do you start your own bank? Well, you need a charter. And the charter basically has to be approved by Fed regulations, not federal regulations. Fed regulations.
So the private corporation.
The private corporation's rules. So if you follow those rules, you can become a bank. You have to have like a board of governors and you have to have investors, but you don't really actually have to have money, which is kind of weird, huh? That you don't
Ooh,
have to have money to be a bank. Doesn't that tell you something?
that's a little creepy.
That's super
So
creepy.
they're basically lending out money with nothing backing it.
Yeah. So like let's say for example, because we were smart kind of and we saved our money and we have a home, but we pay a mortgage. We put money down, you know. When we went to get our loan, how much of a headache was it to have everything done, all the paperwork filled out, and we couldn't like spend any money because if we spent some money, they would look at it and they might tell us, no, you're not approved for this loan. You're spending too much
Yeah.
money. And what they basically did, like I thought at the time, is what we signed this loan. They go into their vaults and they issue us that money, you know, or they issue it to escrow, and they've guaranteed a loan saying, okay, well, we paid your mortgage. Now you have a mortgage with us and you owe us. That is not what they did.
Nope.
No, what they do and what they continue to do with fractional reserve banking is they don't actually have the money there. But let's say you get approved and you get a mortgage. Well, they just type those numbers on a screen and they hit send. And it goes through the banking Swift system and it goes to your escrow. The escrow takes it, they take their percentage, they pay off the homeowner, and you trade keys. And now you have a new house, but now you owe the bank. You owe a note on your house with the bank. The bank that just created that money out of nothing. So because they created that money out of nothing, let's say you lose your job and you're shit out of luck and you can't pay your mortgage. Now you're going into default and then foreclosure, which is worse because they're going to take your house away and you can't pay off the loan and you get a derogatory mark on your record, your financial record. You might have to file for bankruptcy. And now the bank takes a real asset back into their coffers as an asset and they get to sell it again for profit.
That's so shady.
So they created the money out of thin air. They give you nothing to pay this home, then they can take back from you at any time.
And they're making interest off you.
And they make interest off you. With the interest that you pay on your home, they can buy 3 homes.
It's such a messed up system, but we're sold. This is the American dream.
Yeah.
You go into debt, own a home, go into debt for college.
Mm-hmm. Get super educated because that's what you should do and all this, you know. But
debt is just numbers on a screen. It's not backed by anything.
Not backed by anything.
And it's putting more money into our current system.
Yeah.
Is that considered monetary expansion? Is that the term for that?
I don't know if that's what monetary expansion is, but this is definitely usury. That's what this is, which some religions specify as corrupt and criminal.
Yes.
Meaning usury. Some central bank. This is how deep this is. Usury is such a crime against the spirit and soul. It's basically enslavement with debt that's created out of nothing. That some nations do not have a central bank because those nations are like religious nations, and it's part of their religion that usury is a crime, and that's what banks do. They commit usury on you, so they usurp the value of your dollar. That's why your dollar is diluted. Just this week, the Federal Reserve balance sheet topped $8 trillion as reported directly by the Fed. The Fed's balance sheet hit that all-time high, as well as the S&P 500 hitting an all-time high. That's weird. So the Fed has a huge amount of money on its balance sheet that it's waiting for, to be paid back. And the S&P 500, which is like, it's like the NASDAQ. It hit an all-time high. Where's that money going? Where is it going? It's going into the market.
It's crazy.
It's going into the market. People are sitting at home. They're getting free money from the government. Something like 38% of the money that people are getting right now is somehow connected to the government or coming from the government.
Yeah.
and they're playing Robin Hood and they're playing stocks and they're like, yeah, look at me. I'm buying GameStop. I'm buying AMC.
Yeah, that
Oh,
recent bill that Biden passed in March, um, it extended unemployment insurance, $300 per week. So it's just they
which it doesn't sound like much.
no, but to some it is, and
Yeah.
they're paying people to stay at home,
Yeah. It's,
basically.
it's making it easier to not have to work and to get free money. And then people are using that free money and throwing it into the market, and the market's expanding and it looks great on paper, but this is a giant paper tiger. This is all fake. This is an everything bubble. It's forcing all assets to increase in value or appear to look like it's increased in value, but it really isn't more valuable. Like a home last year that was like 200,000 could probably go for like 325 this year. And did it gain $125,000 in value? Probably not. It's the same home. And when that happens, when like homes increase in value so rapidly, they're not assets anymore. They're debt, because you're going to need a mortgage to pay that home unless you have the cash on hand, which most people don't. And now that house is a liability, not an asset. Because if you owe a ton of money on a home that's value is so overshot, you're not really paying for anything. You're overpaying. If the value is too high, the bank won't even give you a loan for it.
Yeah.
So it's a really weird time right now, because all these different pockets of our economy are just like hyperinflating. Just you see like hyperinflating bubbles in the stock market. You see it in real estate. You see it kind of you see it in the cost of consumer goods. You see it in the grocery store. You see it in gas. Gas is going to go up to at least $5 this summer. At least it's already for something.
Man. Of course.
Yeah.
And it's not even as if it's not taxed enough here.
Oh yeah, we pay some of the highest taxes on gas in the nation, definitely.
California.
Well, we have to pay for all that pomade for the governor's hair, because otherwise he won't look good, and that bleach, for his teeth, because he needs to smile and show us how great he is. That guy, my God,
number 1 villain.
I will, in the words of Sam Tripoli, I will fight that guy for charity. I will definitely. You pay for that. I will fight that motherfucker, and I'll fight dirty. I fucking hate that guy. Oh man.
Take his jaw off.
Shh, I synced you pull somebody's jaw off.
I synced it.
Yeah, we are kind of in a mishmash of bubbles, and we're going through kind of an economic reset, so to speak. So we have all this free money, and it's flowing through the top. So those that are closest to the Fed, they get the money. So big corporations, politicians, they get this money at 0%. Now I don't know, my credit's pretty good, folks, but it's not amazing. I can't go to the bank and get a 0% loan.
Yeah. Why is it that these corporations, banks, hedge funds, they get these nice loans at this low interest rate?
It's because they're part of the revolving door that is called the U.S. government.
They're closer to the money source.
Yeah. So they get it. They're closer. Yeah. The Fed is actually sponsoring some of these companies. I came across a thread this week. I shared it with you. I'd like to read it for you guys, and I'll definitely post it in the show notes. But there was a thread on Twitter from a Twitter user at a philosophe. I'll spell that later because I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But the thread is very accurate. Everything that this person is saying is 1,000% true, and it should shock you. So they start off by letting you know BlackRock is buying every single family house they can find, paying 20 to 50% above asking price and outbidding normal home buyers. Why are corporations, pension funds, and property investment groups buying entire neighborhoods out from under the middle class? Let's take a look. Homes are popping up on MLS and going under contract within a few hours. BlackRock, among others, are buying up thousands of new homes and entire neighborhoods. So who is BlackRock? Only the world's largest asset manager and the leading proponent of the Great Reset. They're looking to redistribute, get this, $120 million. Trillion dollars. I am so sorry. Yeah, $120 trillion. The entire wealth of the world's middle class and poor combined several times over. As an example, a 124 new home neighborhood was bought in its entirety in Texas. Average Americans were outbid to the tune of $32 million. Homes sold at an average of 20% above listing. Now the entire neighborhood is made up of SFRs. What are SFRs? Single family rentals. Now your potential lower to middle class home owner is positioned to be a permanent renter. This matters because for the lower and middle class, owning a home is the most major part of any financial success and future upward mobility. This is wealth redistribution, and it ain't rich people's wealth that's getting redistributed. It's normal American middle class, salt of the earth wealth heading into the hands of the world's most powerful entities and individuals. The traditional financial vehicle gone forever. Home equity is the main financial element that the middle class families use to build wealth. And BlackRock, a Federal Reserve funded financial institution, is buying up all the houses to make sure that young families can't build wealth. That's right. Federal Reserve funded financial institute. Let that sink in for a minute. Got it? They're using your tax dollars to fuck over the lower and middle class, and it's permanent. Not one president, administration of bullshit. This is fundamental reorganization of society. So where does this position the average American in 30 years when it's a given that every new neighborhood is to be bought up whole so that they can be utilized as single family rentals? It positions them as peasants. Being poor can be temporary condition, bettered by upward mobility. In the US and other nations, home ownership is often the first and most vital step. This can provide for generational wealth and success, but as permanent guaranteed renters, you're pissing away a lifetime of equity and the chance for mobility. You just become a peasant. The Great Reset is real. It is happening. This will be the greatest transfer of wealth and greatest consolidation of power in the history of mankind. If they get away with it, revolution will be the only cure. It will be awful. Wake up, get active, stop this now. This is warfare, make no doubt about it. Lloyd's Bank in London is doing it, as is every great financial institute across the world. This must be stopped. It's a greater threat than the slow creep of communism, BLM, or anything else you can think of combined. It is a death stroke. BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street control $20 trillion worth of assets. BlackRock alone has a $10 billion a year surplus. That means with a 5 to 20% down, they can get a mortgage on $130,000 to $170,000 homes every year. Or they can outright buy $30,000 homes per year, or 30,000 homes per year. Sorry, just BlackRock. Now imagine every major institute doing this, because they are. It can be such a fast sweeping action that 30 years. Oh shoot, that one didn't work out too good. That screenshot didn't work out. 30 years is being overshot. Hold on one second.
30 years may be overshooting it.
Overshooting it. There you go.
My
screen's screwed
up. They may accomplish feudalism in 15 years.
Correct. People will say that they can't just piss away money like this, buying tens of thousands of houses at a loss. Wrong. You and I can't do that. They are fronting the Federal Reserve and are financed by endless streams of freshly created fiat money. And what's the global reserve currency? Oh yeah, green funny money. You may ask, suppose the banks won't finance new housing, but companies are buying them for the way above asking price. It can't last. Well, the banks are controlled by and in bed with the same cabal, buying everything up. You think this will be corrected by market forces when it is a financial and political pincher move pushed by the same cabal that stole the 2020 election and hid COVID truth. You are fucked. And he gives several articles from the Wall Street Journal, from Financial Times, and other famous financial reporting agencies that claim and prove exactly this with evidence. And he is 100% right. And I know that was a long thread, but he is 100% right. Or she. I'm sure. I don't know who this person is.
So basically, corporations, BlackRock, for example, they're just an asset management company.
Yes.
Is that what they are?
Yeah. But they're buying all these homes.
So they're getting loans from the Federal Reserve to buy these homes.
They're getting 0% interest loans. Yes. So they're basically getting free money.
How is this possible? How come these corporations get these loans? Because they're closer.
Yeah.
It's a big club.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
It's just mind blowing, you know. It's mind blowing that they're allowed to just print this money that's backed by nothing.
Yeah.
And in turn, it's keeping us poor because it's debasing the value of the money.
Exactly. It really is. I mean, if it wasn't so evil, you really got to admire the genius of it, because
it's
amazingly brilliant, because they're taking from us and they're calling us the parasites.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you're taking from us. The only reason why you're able to grow this big, the only reason an Amazon exists, the only reason a Walmart exists, the only reason that BlackRock exists, big institutions like this, is because of an endless supply of money. If money was limited, if money had value, and I'm going back to gold here, you couldn't do this, because one, it's really hard to transfer that large amount of gold all at once. And two, you can't fake gold. Gold is gold. You can test for it. You can validate that it's real, actual gold, and it has weight and value. Weight equals a certain value in gold, right? Or silver.
You can't debase gold.
You can't debase gold unless you're really good at faking alloys, you know?
Alchemy.
Yeah. unless you're an alchemist, somehow you can do freaking magic tricks or something. But you can't fake that. With dollars, you can fake it. What the Fed does with printing, they're basically counterfeiting dollars.
Yeah.
But if you do it and I do it, that's illegal. When they do it, it's called monetary policy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're printing this money, getting these loans at 0% interest. And in turn, they're buying these homes.
Whole neighborhoods too.
Which is taking away from people that want to buy these homes, but it's also keeping...
That's what's also driving up the prices.
Yes, and it's keeping people renters and not giving them a chance to have that equity.
It's called neo-feudalism.
Yeah, the equity option is huge. As homeowners, I think that's a...
Yeah, because
if we ever need extra fiat...
we can go get a loan based on our equity because we have equity in our home. Yeah, the whole reason, and I know that I'm probably one of my, me and maybe one other friend of mine growing up that I can count are homeowners. Everyone else I know of is a renter or they still live at home. And I'm in my 30s, just so that and my friends are in the same age group. So you can see how fucked up the situation is. 30-something-year-olds living at home or
different
being
times.
Permanent renters. Yeah, different times, but different priorities. My priority was get a house, get married, build equity, because you never know when you need that money. If you build equity, it's going to be there for you, and it will propel you to being more wealthy in the future, because we could leverage our home to buy another home. And what do you do when you buy another home? You rent that out, and look at that. You make money, and pay off that mortgage.
Or you can leverage that one to buy another home.
Exactly. It's a cascading effect of building wealth. And you know, I have family that owns rentals, and you have family also that owns rentals. This is just something that people do. It helps them get to retirement a little earlier, and it builds that central hub of wealth for your family you can pass on to future generations.
Yeah, it's kind of messed up because BlackRock and these other large corporations, they're acquiring houses and these assets at a lower price right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Even though they're paying over, they're paying under, actually.
They are. And they're getting all these things before inflation really hits.
Yeah.
And really screwing us from being able to buy homes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like if
it's an evil cycle.
Oh yeah. Like let's say for example we were going to sell our home and we wanted to move and buy another home somewhere else. Well, we'd be paying a higher price too. We'd be paying the exorbitant price as well. So what's the point? You know, if you sell now and let's assume we could pay off the mortgage, well, we pay off the mortgage, we take what's left over, we're going to have to get another mortgage and it's going to be high as well.
Yeah.
We're not saving any money. So it's just best to kind of sit tight, watch the market collapse, and then grab up homes later. That's literally what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the market to collapse. Once it collapses, then it'll be time to buy homes.
Grab a pint or head to the Winchester, grab a pint.
It'll be all fine.
Wait for this to all blow over.
Yeah, it'll be all fine.
No, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
That they're doing that. And that other headline, Bill Gates buying up all the farmland.
He is.
They're making some serious moves with this Great Reset.
Yeah. They want you to be a calm, quiet, unobtrusive little worker bee. You get your drugs, you get your kibble, and you get to live in your pod. And if you're
get your boosters.
You get your boosters, and if you're good, they'll let you have a doggy or a kitty. And they'll let you play on your own little computer, and you can go online and live a virtual life and be happy and collect your coins. And they'll give you your coins. And eventually here they will probably try and turn the dollar into a digital currency that is basically going to be the dollar, but in digital, which is also known as the dollar because most dollars are digital already. It's on a screen. It's in the bank. You don't actually hold it. Unless you're like me and you get the stripper cash here, then that's our farmers market money, by the way. Don't lose that. And I mean, for the most part, people don't get paid in cash. They get paid in digital dollars on a screen. They go to your account. You get direct deposit. Most dollars are digital. So literally, the Fed's going to meet, I think this week or next week, and start discussing the advantages to converting to a digital dollar. And it's like, you're there. You're literally there. Just stop printing shit.
Yeah.
And then you're done.
I mean, we have debit cards, credit cards, plastic. It's
all the same.
To use cash, even this whole COVID thing kind of made cash scary.
Yeah. And there were signs places that were like, you have to have exact change because we don't have change, which was a fucking lie. They had change. They didn't want to go to the bank and get it because you had to pay extra if you wanted to change from the bank. The bank could order it for you. They just didn't want to pay extra. That's what it was. That was like a conspiracy during this time. I don't know if you remember that when they were like, oh, see, they're going to change it into digital. And people were like, see, they're going to change everything to digital because they're not taking actual change. They're not taking cash.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, man, they're just cheap. They don't want to pay the bank. They'd just rather you use your fucking debit card because it's like the fee is negligible to them.
Yeah.
It's easier. And they're going to do that now. They'll switch it over to digital, and what they'll do is they will glom onto Bitcoin's success, and they'll pretend like, oh, because Bitcoin was so successful, we're going to go digital too. And we're going to have just as successful as Bitcoin. No, you're not. That's a lie. It will never be a success. You will never be Bitcoin. No digital currency will ever be Bitcoin. They all pretend to be, they all try to be, but they are not. That is what it is.
Yeah. They'll run off its blockchain, try and be Bitcoin, but
Oh, it won't run off of Bitcoin's blockchain. My node's not approving that shit. I'm not letting them on
you
there.
imagine. Yeah, right. They're going to try so hard to regulate
Bitcoin?
their version. No, their version of their digital currency.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Theirs will be
it's just going to
heavily
be
regulated.
crazy.
Yeah. And they'll be able, the problem with the digital and why I don't think that's a good idea for the dollar. Well, I don't like the dollar to begin with. I feel like the dollar shouldn't exist. So once it collapses, I'll be happier. But the problem with it turning digital is they can turn it off at any time they want. So like, let's say you start saying things they don't like. Boom, there goes your account. You can't pay your bills. Oh, you talked against the president. You know, that's really problematic. You know, only racists talk against the president apparently. So we're just going to suspend your account for a little bit.
That's like China's social credit system.
Yeah, that's what they want here.
Doing.
That's what they want here.
If you smoke, like on the bus or something, you know.
Yeah.
Do the bad thing, get off the bus, and then you get a little alert on your phone. Oh, we just docked your account.
Yeah. Because you smoked on the bus.
Because they caught you on a camera smoking on the bus.
Oh, there's cameras everywhere in China.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're not free. I mean, it's one nation under CCTV over there.
By having currency turned digital, it's just more control for them. It's super beneficial.
Yeah. It definitely gives them more power and control, which is what they like.
But it won't be Bitcoin.
No, it won't be Bitcoin. And that's kind of where we go from here. I feel like we have an everything bubble. We have a great reset trying to happen. You know, they're going to keep pushing that. Klaus Schwab, is that his name? Schwabenstein.
Schwabi.
And then we have I feel like we have two parallel societies going on right now. We have the establishment, the mainstream, which is controlled by this cabal of people that are all linked to central banks somehow, or government, or both. And then we have a group of weird cyberpunks that don't give a shit about your rules. And they're all working on creating the best currency possible. And it was already created. They're just continuing its development. And those are Bitcoin developers. And I feel like we're at a crossroads here. We have these two different groups. They're coming together. And we're kind of running parallel, but we're going to come into a point where there's a fork, where people are going to go left or right, and you're going to pick, am I going to stick with the mainstream message, the mainstream existence of this banking system, this fractional reserve system, or am I going to go to something that I believe in wholeheartedly, philosophically, principally, and spiritually? And that's going to be the other direction with Bitcoin, and solid money that's backed by something. Like I'm not going to hate on gold. I'm not going to hate on silver if people want to invest in that too. Me, I choose Bitcoin. And part of the reason why I choose Bitcoin is not because it's not, I understand the technical aspects. I understand how a block is formed every 10 minutes. There's a halving every 4 years. I understand, we operate our own node. I'm into this. This is a thing that I'm into. I believe in it because it is limited. It is a limited, finite supply of coins that will ever exist. And that's why if you were to compare 1-to-1, one Bitcoin to $1, Bitcoin is worth more than $1. One Bitcoin right now, I believe is 35,000 right now as of recording. I check the price all the time. So I understand that people are like, oh, you can't afford $35,000. No, no, no. You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. It's broken down. Each Bitcoin is broken down into 100 million Satoshis, and each Satoshi has a value. So let's say you throw in $10. Well, that might be like 1,000 Satoshis, you know, it depends on what the exchange rate is at the time. But it's such an easy asset to buy. And yes, Bitcoin is an asset. It's a digital asset or store of value that you're putting your money into. And I look at it more like a savings account or a retirement account where I don't pay for anything in Bitcoin. I hate fiat. I'll throw fiat at something because that's easier to get. But Bitcoin, I'm not going to throw at anything. I'm going to keep that until one Bitcoin is 500,000 or more. And then hopefully by then we're retired and I can live off of that. I have other things. Obviously, I'm not like, okay, we're all in on Bitcoin for everything. Obviously, I have a retirement plan, my job and stuff like that, but I would rather keep it in Bitcoin, to be honest with you. This is just something that it's based in truth and value. It's based in actual limits, and it's free in terms of its censorship. You cannot censor people in Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not follow any government. It doesn't care what your government says. It's a network by itself. It exists by itself. Your government could ban it. And oftentimes when a government bans it, mining in that country goes up, meaning Bitcoin doesn't give a shit. Bitcoin's the honey badger of currency. Honey badger don't give a fuck. You know, like you can say whatever you want. Honey badger is just going to live its life. It's going to do its thing. It don't care. And that's what I like about it, is that if we have Bitcoin, the government can't take it from us. I mean, they can try, you know. I have my private keys. I just have my private keys memorized. Okay. Yeah. Well, go ahead and can you stick something in my brain and take it out of my head? Because I ain't giving it to you. There's been cases where a person in Germany has been censored and arrested and put in prison for 8 years because they wouldn't give the private keys to their Bitcoin wallet to the government.
Wow.
And when they came out, they had all that Bitcoin, and it was so high in value that they left Germany and they established their life somewhere else.
Nice.
So they were basically like, go fuck yourself. They kept all that money. Can you imagine, like right now, if you don't pay your taxes, right, or if you commit a crime, the government can straight up take the money out of your check or out of your account because of Patriot Act. They're allowed to do whatever they want.
And garnish your wages.
They can garnish your wages. They can take it right out of your account if they want to. They can't do that with Bitcoin. With Bitcoin, they cannot take it from you. It's unconfiscatable. You just need you need your wallet. You need your private keys. Once you memorize that, you're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, in recent news, that pipeline that got hacked. Well, not pipeline, but the
Colonial
company.
Pipeline?
Yeah, the company. And the hackers requested Bitcoin as payment.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
I think this was just a false flag.
Yeah.
The story was just so sketch.
Yeah.
But and in a recent headline, it said that the Fed was able to track down this Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And they were able to take it.
Yeah.
So they had the private keys.
No.
You know?
They didn't.
No. The real story is they took it off of like a server, a cloud server.
An exchange server.
Yeah. So what, like Coinbase?
Yeah, like Coinbase.
Where are some other? I can't think of some other
Coinbase, ones. Square or Cash App, Square. Yeah. They have their own exchange.
So the Fed subpoenaed basically.
Yeah, the server.
In order to get access to your Bitcoin, they need your private keys. Mm-hmm. Like that's just how it is.
But if you keep your Bitcoin on an exchange, you don't own your keys.
No.
They own your keys.
They do. The exchange owns your keys. And the
so it's
Fed,
not your Bitcoin.
No, and the Fed can subpoena.
Mm-hmm. And freeze your assets.
And take that.
They'll never be able to take it off without the actual private keys, but I'm sure the exchange will just give it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they own the keys.
The way the laws are written, who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the privacy factor is huge.
Yeah. A lot of people feel like, or a lot of people have a misunderstanding when it comes to Bitcoin. They're like, oh, isn't it anonymous? Isn't it private? Yes and no. The blockchain is public, which
Yes.
means every
You
transaction
can
is
see,
public.
yeah, you can see each transaction,
every
every
transaction.
transaction that's ever been completed,
Yeah.
even that pizza.
Yeah.
That was, what was it, like
It was
30,000?
10,000 Bitcoin
Oh my God, I was way
for
off.
2 pizzas.
10,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's an expensive pizza.
It was, well, not at the
Two
time, but
pizzas.
yeah. Now, yeah. Now that would be like worth like $20 million or some
Yeah.
ridiculous amount.
But yeah, you can see that transaction. It's all logged on the blockchain.
Yeah. I've looked at it. It's pretty funny. There's certain transactions where there were like messages encoded in the transaction. The very first blockchain, or the very first block on the blockchain, Satoshi Nakamoto, mined the first block, and there's a message in the first block. In the Genesis block, there's a message, and I believe he also put another message in one of the blocks before he left and disappeared, and he's not around anymore.
What a mystery.
We don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is.
So fascinating where this came from.
That kind of like leads to its allure, I suppose, because it's this like, mythical figure of Satoshi Nakamoto. Nobody knows who he is, she is, or they are, if they're a group of people, but they're the anonymous creator of Bitcoin. They established it and kind of let it out onto the world, and then there's continuing developers that keep working on it and keep adding new pieces to the block. And the beauty of that is they can't just do it. They can't just add something. The nodes have to accept it. And every node gets a vote. If you operate a node, you get a vote. So if you want to accept the change, you accept the change. What's going on right now is a Taproot is the newest update. It's adding new privacy and anonymization factors like Schnorr signatures and things like that. I don't really know all the technical aspects of it, but a lot of people are raving about it and how it's going to advance the network. I'm more into Bitcoin because of the philosophy behind it, and it's, to me, it's a spiritual, like money is a spiritual thing. I know people think like, no, it's not a spiritual. No, it is. Money is magic. Like, to me, it is magic. You can do good, you can do bad. It's a tool, but it is also magic in that the way it is created out of thin air for fiat, it's magic. The way that Bitcoin is created is it takes so much energy to run math problems to solve it that it produces a new coin. Every block, every block that's mined, there's coins that are created out of this power of electricity that computers are using to mine the Bitcoin.
So fascinating.
It's super fascinating, and I find that people that don't like Bitcoin either don't understand it, or they understand it, but they're being paid by some other asset, so they're into that other asset.
Yeah. I mean, the freedom factor is also big for me.
Yeah.
In that it takes you away from this fiat monetary system that we're in right now.
Yeah.
And the central banks being the source of power. The nodes, like you said, they're the ones that approve the transactions.
We decide.
And it's like,
it's very
it's
democratic.
The people.
Yeah.
It's the people that decide.
It's very democratic.
Versus these corporations that are like, oh, let's just print this money. Let's just take away from the future generations the value.
Yeah.
Bitcoin doesn't do that.
No. And they've been tested and tested and tested to the point where there have been groups that have tried to take over 51% of the network, where they push their changes onto the network that they want. And the nodes, when it's happened, thousands of new nodes were fired up and they rejected it.
Nice.
Which means that people know that we have a choice and we can control it. When you operate a node on the Bitcoin network, you turn yourself into the bank. You are a central bank unto yourself. And that's the power of it, is we remove the middleman. We remove the bankers, the ones that don't add value. Bankers don't add value. Imagine. You take your money, you put it in a building, right? And they charge you a fee for holding it. And then not only that, but then they charge you a fee for lending it too. What value are they adding other than siphoning value from you? They are like the pre-government. They show government how to steal from us.
Yeah.
And the government goes, "Oh, that's good. Let me do that too." It's actually, like I said before, if it wasn't so evil, it's brilliant. Like it's like, wow, this is like some mafia level shit,
It's black magic, man.
It is black magic. And I think that the cards are finally falling, and and I'm so excited to be a part of Bitcoin and to be a Bitcoin holder, hodler, whatever they want to call us. But I'm so excited because just this week during Bitcoin 2021 in Miami, I didn't get to go, obviously, but I did watch a lot of the live stream. I know you did because I heard you watching some of the live stream events that happened, some of the events. But what was announced this week, Jack Mallers, who is a CEO of Strike, I believe, he has been working for a year or more, a couple years, I think, with the president and Congress of El Salvador. And as of this week, during the Bitcoin 2021 in Miami conference, they announced that along with the US dollar, Bitcoin in El Salvador will be considered legal tender, meaning no taxes will need to be taken in terms of capital gains. So the difference here is in the US, if you hold Bitcoin and you sell it after a year or before a year, you are subject to capital gains tax because the IRS, which is our tax agency nationally, it looks at Bitcoin as property and treats it as such. So when you sell property, you have to pay capital gains. With this, El Salvador is saying, no, it's not property, it's money. And we're going to treat it as money. And part of their bill says that all prices, along with US dollar prices, must display Bitcoin price. So everything must be sold in Bitcoin, which is kind of funny. It made me laugh because I don't know if you remember, Tesla was accepting Bitcoin for a while for Teslas.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I remember that.
And then they stopped because Elon Musk decided to become a green Nazi, and he decided his the little subsidies he's getting from the government makes him a lot happier. So he stopped taking Bitcoin as payment for Teslas. Well, because it's a legal tender in El Salvador, if you're buying a Tesla in El Salvador, he has to take Bitcoin because it's law now that you have to display all your prices in Bitcoin. So I don't know if you can buy a Tesla in El Salvador. I thought it'd be pretty funny though, if somebody forced him to be like, sell me a Tesla and I'll pay you in Bitcoin in El Salvador, because he'd be like, ah, shit, I said I wasn't going to do that anymore. And now I'm here. So
scared Elon Musk.
Yeah, but that was huge news. The other cool thing about El Salvador, and I'm not like in line to go move over there, but no property taxes.
I like that.
I saw that. I was like, you're fucking kidding me, right? No property taxes? That's even better than Mexico. Mexico, you have property taxes.
Yeah. And it's pretty amazing. This bill is only like 5 pages.
I think it's less than that. It's like, I think it's like 4. It's tiny.
It's tiny.
It's small.
It gets straight to the point, and it's like, why can't our government have bills that work that efficient?
Yeah.
They passed it within like the next day.
Right? It was like 31 hours later. Boom, it was done. It was already law.
Yeah. So this is something that they've been preparing
clearly
and getting ready for a while.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of cool things in that bill. I don't know if people have had a chance to take a look, but you should.
Yeah, the president of El Salvador posted it on Twitter. So you can actually, because it's only a few pages, and you can read it. It's in English and in Spanish.
I like a couple of my favorite things. Article 13, all obligations in money expressed in USD existing before the effective date of this law may be paid in Bitcoin.
Yep. So it's retroactive too.
That's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
your debts, like if you want to give your Bitcoin away, it is an option. You can pay that debt off in Bitcoin.
You can pay it off. You can pay your taxes in Bitcoin too.
Yes.
Yes.
That is true. And it's not like they're forcing this on the people.
No.
The bill does say that. It's going to be an option, basically. And things that I'm weary about, you know how...
Yeah,
You know.
you're very suspicious.
Whenever the government gets involved in something, I'm just always weary. And the bill does say that the government is going to supply...
Yeah.
I forgot the term.
Oh, Bitcoin wallets.
Yeah.
They're going to help people establish wallets
Yes.
if they don't have the means.
Yeah, they're basically going to fund
Yeah.
helping people out that want to get into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I'm always kind of like, government programs are not efficient.
Well, yeah, they're not efficient. But remember, a Bitcoin wallet is kind of a standard software.
Yeah. This is the line that kind of made me like, that it is the obligation of the state to facilitate the financial inclusion of its citizens in order to better guarantee their rights. The state should not facilitate anything.
Yeah. I like that. I like that line. I agree with you. The state should not facilitate. Well, I don't believe in a state, so I don't think the state should exist, first of all. So I'm gonna go ahead on a limb here and say, while I love El Salvador's move, I don't believe in El Salvador. And I know that sounds weird. I don't believe in any state.
The government, like the state.
I don't believe in the state.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like nations don't get their name from the people. Nations get their name from the government. You know, if we were to name our country, would you name it the United States of America? I probably wouldn't name it United States. We're not really united that much. I just call us the States, or I'd call us something else.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a choice.
Yeah.
The government chose. And so that's why I say, yes, I applaud El Salvador, but I don't believe in El Salvador because I don't believe in a state. I don't believe the state should exist, but I applaud their decision in doing this. And if the state is going to take a proactive role, some people in the Bitcoin community feel as though it is important for a nation state to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender, the way that El Salvador has. And I somewhat agree that in order to increase recognizability of Bitcoin and viability of Bitcoin to where people are understanding it more and more and willing to use it and participate in the Bitcoin network, well, we do kind of need a nation to adopt it. And this was the first one. They did it. If you Google what money El Salvador uses now, Bitcoin comes up.
Yeah.
On Wikipedia and Google.
It's amazing.
It's fantastic.
And they're using volcanic
energy,
geothermal
to mine it.
Energy to mine it.
Yeah, they already started drilling, and I saw some of the test ventilations.
Yeah, I saw that too.
The steam coming out. It's so fascinating. And then they're building an entire mining hub around that vent. So the whole facility is aimed at build as harnessing energy, but they're focused on mining Bitcoin with the excess energy that's being there, which is super green. I mean, you're using volcanoes, it's not like you're pouring gas in a tank and lighting it on fire.
Take that, Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah. That lady doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. She doesn't even know if she's Indian or she doesn't know. Yeah, did you ever hear her? Like, have you seen the video of her talking about how she found out she was Native American?
Probably.
Where she's like, there was this old picture and, my grandma showed me of one of our relatives and they had such strong cheekbones and it was like a Native American and so, we just always believed we had that Native American, in us.
So it was an assumption through a photo?
Yeah.
Was it some DNA test?
Joe Rogan is more Native American than Elizabeth Warren, and Joe Rogan is half ape.
Wow.
Yeah. come on. Like
I'm,
he
I'm
even calls
probably
it,
more
he
Native
even,
American.
yeah, I think you are more Native American. We definitely are more Native American because we're Mexican. So that's why. So definitely on our Mexican side, there's some Native in there somewhere. It just happens to be that way, you know? But we kick her ass when it comes to having that in our system versus her.
But yeah, El Salvador is definitely
But
leading in the right direction,
oh yeah, they're
with
going in the
freeing
cliff.
themselves from this central bank
Yeah.
system. And then a couple of other countries stepped up too.
Oh yeah, we
Was it
have
Brazil?
it's Paraguay, Panama, Colombia, Mexico, Brazil, yeah, Ecuador, Argentina, and the Kingdom of Tonga.
Wow.
Yeah. Just to name the ones who reached out immediately after the legislation in El Salvador passed, some of these countries reached out immediately. Colombia, I believe like one of the financial ministers reached out directly to Jack Mallers, and he's like, check your DMs, literally. And
Wow.
he's been going. I don't know who this person is, this Colombian guy, but I like him because he's been going after Peter Schiff like a motherfucker. Those of you who don't know who Peter Schiff is, Peter Schiff is a gold bug. A gold bug is a person who thinks the only thing you need to put your money in is gold because gold is the only thing with value and Bitcoin is a scam and everything that isn't gold is a scam. They agree with me a lot and I agree with them a lot on monetary policy and what actual money is. I agree on a lot of things, but the thing that Peter Schiff gets wrong is Bitcoin. He doesn't understand Bitcoin. He actually got like 1,000 Bitcoin and he lost his wallet. And so
Oh my
now, and he
gosh.
lost his keys, so he can't ever claim it. But his son, is a Bitcoin maniac and has been investing in Bitcoin forever. But Peter Schiff always talks about gold. Well, this Colombian financial guy, I think he works for the government. He's in the financial part of the government or whatever. He has been nonstop going against like Peter Schiff like crazy. Like he flat said to him on Twitter, if you don't put your money where your mouth is and short Bitcoin, otherwise shut the fuck up. Like he's right. If Peter Schiff talks so much shit about Bitcoin, put your fucking money where your mouth is and short it. Short it in the market. Shorting, for those people don't know, is betting against. If you short something, you're betting against it. The people that shorted the market, The Big Short, the movie The Big Short, they were shorting the housing market. They were betting against the housing market and they ended up winning billions of dollars because they were smart and they did the research. Well, Peter Schiff should do the same thing here. Short Bitcoin. If you think it's going to fail, then you'll succeed, right? But the reason why he won't is because he knows it will succeed. It's far better than gold.
Yeah. He's got to ride that gold train as much as he can. I do
He's
like
got to
gold.
write that gold dildo.
I do. I do like gold, and everyone should probably own a little bit. But the thing is transportation.
Yeah.
Like transporting it. If you got to go,
Yeah.
like if something goes down and you need to transport your gold, it's like
the thing that I don't
depending
like,
on how much you have.
yeah,
As opposed you have Bitcoin, you just need your wallet.
Your wallet. You need to know how to send and receive, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Look at the meme pool to see how high your fees are going to be at the time. Be smart, look and see that, and then if the meme pool isn't too congested, then you can send the transaction through, and it'll be on the next block probably with a lower fee. Layer 2 of Bitcoin is Lightning, so those are very little to zero fees, and the transactions are instantaneous. It's like within a second. We will go into Bitcoin in more detailed discussion later, describing exactly what all these things are. But what I want people to understand and why I treat Bitcoin more important than gold is because how much gold is there in the world? Do you know?
No. I mean, there could be gold in the ocean that we don't even know about.
No, there is gold. Most of the gold is in the ocean.
Yeah, and the ocean is deep.
The ocean is deep. Well, it's actually particulate gold.
Oh.
Yeah.
You don't think it's buried
No.
the floor?
No. So there is gold everywhere in the ocean. And one of the funny things is you can actually mine gold out of the ocean. There is technology to do that. But one of the things that happens with hurricanes is, and you'll notice this, is that gold, remnants of gold will be found on land where hurricanes have hit, and that's because the hurricane is pulling moisture out of the ocean. It's pulling all this water and it's dumping it somewhere else,
Interesting.
and you'll find gold somewhere else. It's particulate matter gold, but it over time, if you were to get it all together, it's tens and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of tons of gold.
It'll accumulate.
It accumulates.
But
Yeah,
we
gold's in the ocean.
don't know how much gold exists.
We don't. But we know how much.
It's whatever's been mined.
Yeah, it's whatever's been mined
so far.
But we do know how much Bitcoin will exist forever.
Yes.
There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin ever minted at all. That's it. That's all. You can't say the same thing for gold. And I know people are going to go, whoa, 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 only 21 million? But there's like 8 billion people on the planet. How are we going to share this one network and, run it properly? Well, we can share this same network, but you know what we can't share? We can't share giving away free money, which means governments couldn't really exist. Like they could, but they'd have to do what's called, I don't know, budgeting. And then I think they'd have to, I don't know, like stick to that budget and then not spend a penny more, because every transaction is recorded, which means you can't commit fraud because we'll know where that money's going. This is exactly why they don't like Bitcoin. Most of the fraud that occurs in our world, as much hate as Bitcoin gets, where they're like, only drug addicts and terrorists use Bitcoin. I've heard that before. And that's what prevented me from getting in earlier. But most of the crime and financial crime that occurs in the US dollar. I mean, there's a reason why there's cocaine residue on every dollar that you use. Gee, I wonder why there's an illegal drug substance residue on our money. Could it be because it's used for illegal things all the time?
Yeah. What's the difference?
And it's untrackable. You can't track cash. I mean, the government just tried. It can't. It loses cash all the time. It lost it in Afghanistan. Apparently, it lost it a few days before 9/11. Looking at that.
What was that? What was that?
Was,
like 7 trillion?
That was like, yeah, it was several billion, I think, at least.
Oh, it was billion? It wasn't trillion?
I don't know. It might be trillion. It was Donald Rumsfeld. I tried to ignore that guy.
Yeah.
But most crime occurs in the dollar. Very little crime occurs in Bitcoin. I know people go, what about the colonial pipeline you're just talking about? Well, that was a false flag. That wasn't real. If you actually follow the sequence of events of news that actually happened, I recommend you listen to the propaganda report. Monica Perez and Brad Binkley break it down pretty good. The first time they reported this, the colonial pipeline said that they shut down voluntarily to prevent some sort of cyber hack from occurring.
It wasn't a cyber attack.
It wasn't.
That forced them to shut down.
They
voluntarily
shut
down.
Exactly. So if you keep that in mind, then you kind of listen to what the FBI's narrative is. You're like, oh, wait a second. They're making some of this shit up. Like, this isn't real. Because if they shut it down, well, then there wasn't a hack, right? So, but let's assume that the FBI isn't lying, even though they are. They always lie. Well, okay, there's a hack. So you're telling me that these hackers are smart enough to hack the infrastructure of a gas pipeline for a private company, that probably has government contracts, so they have some sort of cybersecurity, I'm sure. And they said, pay us in Bitcoin, and they kept their wallet on an exchange so that they didn't own the keys to their own wallet. So these hackers are smart enough to hack, but they're not smart enough to know that you should own your own keys.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. My bullshit radar is going through the fucking roof.
And the FBI can easily find these hackers.
Yeah.
But they can't find the people that supposedly left the bombs.
Yeah.
At the DNC and was it the DNC and the RNC on the...
Oh, for the
6th?
For the insurrection event?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't find those people.
Yeah, because it was them. That's why they can't find... Every time you hear them say, we can't find this person, it's because it was them that did it. Or it was one of their buddies that did it in the CIA. every time you hear a government agency, we just can't find them. They did it. That's
Simple as that.
they can't find them because they're looking for themselves. It's like a firefighter who lights fires and they can't find the arsonist behind it, and he's the chief fire marshal investigating the arson. He's like, I just can't find the guy.
Yeah.
You know, we have all this technology, we just can't find the guy because it's you. That's why. It's ridiculous that we trust these people when we know how corrupt these agencies are. But look into that. Listen to what Propaganda Report has broken down. They have a good breakdown. There was no hack. And the subsequent hacks that are going on with all these other different industries, and what was the last one? JBS, the beef thing.
Yeah.
That was a false flag too.
Man, so many things are in motion. It's hard to keep track.
I think what they're trying to do is they're either trying to regulate cryptocurrencies and go against cryptocurrencies because they see that as a threat to the dollar. This week, you know, as much as Trump says things that I do agree with sometimes, he said something that I disagreed with this week, in that he believes Bitcoin is a scam. He said that.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy he opened his stupid mouth, because that was the biggest push for Bitcoin. The fact that he said it is like, oh, great, you know? And it's funny because I feel like Elizabeth Warren's comments about Bitcoin using energy and all this stuff came out right after. And right after that, it flipped, because like Trump talked shit about Bitcoin, and then Elizabeth Warren talked shit about Bitcoin. And then right after Elizabeth Warren, Ted Cruz was like, well, you know, Bitcoin has promise, you know?
What the?
Yeah.
Just making us crazy.
And it's like, you motherfuckers, like you're trying to politicize this thing. You know what I want them to say? You know what I want all of these people to say? Nothing. They should shut the fuck up and quit their job and probably go find an actual job that brings joy to the world instead of all the crap that they bring to us.
Stop taking our hard-earned money
Yeah.
through taxes.
Exactly.
Just to pay you to rant and say stupid crap.
But one of the things that has me thinking is like, El Salvador takes Bitcoin now as a legal tender. So can we technically consider Bitcoin a foreign currency now? And if that's the case, are the tax rules in the US going to change to adapt to treating it as though you're investing in a foreign currency? Because technically it is a foreign currency.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I wonder if all these other countries start legislating and creating an avenue for it becoming legal tender in their respective countries. Like, can't you go to the IRS and say, I'm going to sell this Bitcoin, but it's not property. This is foreign currency. Or could you just move to one of these countries and sell your Bitcoin there for whatever you wanted? Maybe it'd be worth it just to do that.
Man, some of the homes that are just priced over there, you get right on the beach.
Right on the beach, yeah.
Like 300,000,
yeah.
you know, just a nice, newly remodeled home.
Mm-hmm. Air conditioning. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not much of a beach person, but
me either.
Those homes did look beautiful.
Yeah. I'm not a beach person, and from when you went to Costa Rica, all the jungle noise at night, from what you told me, I was like, that kind of sounds really annoying. You know? Like I like quiet.
It is super noisy at night in the forest.
It's enough
incredible.
that we got traffic noise where we're at.
Oh, it is incredible. It's just everything comes to life at night. It's wonderful.
Well, everything that you hear noise from at night in the jungle is like a nocturnal creature, right? Something that's only awake at night for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's like a lot of bugs and stuff that only come out at night, right? So you're hearing a lot of like creepy crawlies all over the place.
The leaf cutter ants.
Yeah. I bet you can hear them when there's thousands of them.
Oh, that's so cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So, man. Yeah. I remember your stories from Costa Rica, and I'm just like, yeah, that sounds super loud. And I definitely, if I had a house in like El Salvador, which isn't too far from Costa Rica, but still in Central America where Costa Rica is located, right? And they share a coast too.
Yeah.
If I had a house there, yeah, I'm closing the windows at night.
Yeah.
You know, because that shit's too loud.
Do you think Costa Rica is going to jump on that Bitcoin?
I don't know.
Bitcoin train?
I don't know.
They've been kind of quiet. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on with Costa Rica during this whole COVID thing.
Well, from like what you told me in your experience from going down there for school, they seem to really like America, and they seem like they're America's like bitch boy. You know what I mean? And so I don't see
America's
why.
bitch boy. Like, what
Yeah.
do you mean?
Like there's certain countries that are America's bitch boy. You know, like England is America's bitch boy.
Oh, I
Canada
see.
is America's
I
bitch
see.
boy. Mexico to a degree is America's bitch boy. And by that I mean what makes you a bitch boy is it's not like a fuck boy. That's a different thing. So don't confuse the two. But a bitch boy is basically like, you know, America's your master, right? You know, like, you know, like if you started to like talk out against the American government, we're not going to give you loans. You're not going to get IMF loans. You're not going to get anything. And in fact, you might get assassinated because that's how America handles its business.
I
Even though
see.
we pretend that we don't do it that way, we do it just like the Russians do it. We always act like we're better than Russia or China, but we do the same thing that they do. Well, that if you kowtow to America and you take our money, you're our bitch boy. That's how it works.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, Canada doesn't even like defend itself militarily. Most of these countries don't. The whole reason why a lot of countries are America's bitch boy is one, because our military is so big and it defends everybody all the time. And that's another reason why they take advantage of us, because they don't have to spend so much on their military to defend themselves. It's because they use American taxpayers to pay for their defense.
True.
And you know, one of the reasons why I like Bitcoin, besides that it keeps your financial house in order and you have to only spend what you have, you can't overspend or buy on credit. There is no credit when it comes to Bitcoin. You either have it or you don't. And why I want it to be, if the government is going to exist, I wanted to operate on the Bitcoin network, is because they can't spend all this money on the military. War is expensive. Military is expensive. And if you know anything about the founding of this country, you know that a standing army was the biggest threat to liberty. At least that's what they all said, the founding fathers. So if you know that that's the case, then why spend so much money on this? I get that people want to serve their country. I get it. But there's better ways to do it. And we don't need these bases everywhere. If we could just bring everybody back home, close all those bases, you know how much money we'd save? You know how much little environmental cost we'd save? Like we would save so much in the environment. The worst polluter in the world is the US military. We leave tanks and trucks and boxes of ammo and boxes of guns and
Jeez.
boxes of cash, and we leave shit everywhere in the world. Everywhere. And sometimes when we get someplace, we never leave. And I feel like if Bitcoin was the standard for the world, well, we wouldn't have a reason to fight because it would be too expensive. We need to talk. That's what we need to do.
You wouldn't be able to just print money out of nowhere
No,
to fund a war.
no, you couldn't. It would be impossible. It would be impossible to do all these evil things because they're very expensive. And you would have no money to create out of thin air to pay for those things. So to me, it puts us back in a more moral standard. It puts us back in a savings mindset. It's funny, since we started buying Bitcoin, I haven't thought so much about money. Like I think less about money now, and I think more about Bitcoin. And we have more money now. It's probably because of the stimulus,
Yeah.
It's definitely probably because of the stimuluses that have come in. Like we're both working. We didn't really need the stimulus. So it just, we get it. And it's like, okay, well,
Just a little extra.
it'll go towards our savings or whatever. But
A little extra money for Bitcoin.
yeah, but it's extra money for Bitcoin. And so I treat this future, I see and I treat this future as though the dollar's going to collapse. And if they don't shift to a digital currency or to something else, if China doesn't take over and we have to use their stupid money, then the money that's going to be left, that's going to be the most guaranteed, is Bitcoin. And I know people are gonna say, well, what about Ethereum? What about Dogecoin? That's my favorite when you tell people you're into Bitcoin, they go, "Ooh, what do you think about
the
Dogecoin?"
altcoins.
And I'm like, you know what I think about Dogecoin is it sucks. It's not a thing. It's not a real thing.
Dogecoin.
Dogecoin, Dogecoin, whatever.
Doge.
I'm not anti I do hold some other cryptos, unfortunately, and I wish I didn't. I got into them too early and I thought I knew what I was doing. And then I learned about the Church of Bitcoin. No, I don't want to treat it like a cult. It's not the end all be all, but it is going to lead to a better world. And I think that it's an unstoppable technology that will take over. And part of this takeover is, El Salvador will adopt, some of these other countries will adopt, and the US will try and push its influence and say, don't you really want all these dollars? Don't you need these loans?
Yeah, it's incredible. El Salvador, the USD they've only been using it since, what was it, 2000?
2001.
2001. Mm-hmm. So it's still fairly new for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
because before that they had the colonial, which is like the peso in Mexico.
And so they're slowly transitioning to Bitcoin. They see the writing on the wall, it seems. It
seems to me that the other thing too that I learned about El Salvador is that 22% of their economy is based on remittances, meaning it's based on money sent from here to there.
Wow.
And the average money that's taken out of the remittances is 30% or more, meaning...
Is that a tax?
That's a fee that the Western Union takes, or or I don't know who sends money to El Salvador. I can only speak for Mexico because I have experience with sending money to Mexico. So it's like Western Union or Intermax, or there's a bunch of other services, but I'm sure there's services that send money to El Salvador in a remittance, but that service takes a piece and the average is 30%. Well, let's say you wanted to send $500. That's all you had to send, right? You could only send $500. You couldn't afford to send any more, and they needed $500. Well, 30% is what they're going to take. Or, maybe you'll be lucky and the fee will be lower that day, but they're going to take some of it. And what if the people that you're sending it to needed $500? Well, if you're using Bitcoin, you can buy $500 in Bitcoin and you can send it for almost little to no fee. Or if you're on the layer 2 on Lightning, and the other person you're sending it to has a Lightning wallet, you can send it to them for virtually no fee, and they can get it. I mean,
it's very easy.
That's very easy. It's very, and it would be, they would probably get it. Is it
instantaneous?
I would say within 30 minutes, you're going to get it. It's not going to be.
Versus when you use Western Union.
Western Union is technically instantaneous, but it's not at the same time, because some places are only open 5 days a week. They're not open Sundays. They're only open certain hours. Bitcoin runs 24/7, 365. So it doesn't matter when or where. It just matters how. And
very convenient.
It's super convenient. Low fees. But imagine helping all your family over there.
Yeah.
How much easier it would be.
Don't be like AOC. Help your grandma.
Yeah. Yeah. What a bitch, right? What a bitch. I can't believe that.
That was so staged.
Oh my God. Did you see that her aunt, I think it was her aunt. Her aunt literally talk to some paper or something, and they're like, we're very private people, we don't speak for the community here, we don't tell anybody that we're family with her or anything. And
so they denied her?
No, they didn't deny her, but they basically said some people here do need help, but it's not Donald Trump's fault.
Yeah,
they're like, it's the local government's fault. And that's what they were trying to say. And it's like, yeah, if you're a normal, rational human being and you're looking at the situation, is she she's not a senator, right? She's a congressperson, right? She's in Congress, right?
I think so.
Yeah. A congressperson literally complained that the previous president didn't help her family in the United States, because Puerto Rico is part of the United States, in the United States, when she works for the government.
What?
So it's like, you work for the government and you're complaining that the government isn't helping your family. Motherfucker, you help your family. That's like, to me, when I saw that, I was like, oh, she's definitely a champagne socialist. This lady doesn't know, she thinks like, oh, I'm all about democratic socialism. No, you're not. You're a champagne socialist. You don't know what anything socialism actually is. Real socialism doesn't have a state, first of all. And you aren't even willing to help your own family. You want the former president to help your family? What about the the current president? What about you, motherfucker? You ain't got no money? She just bought a Tesla.
Really weird.
Yeah. So I thought, when I saw that, I was like,
That was
this
just
lady is fucking dumb.
That was just a political stunt, just to get Trump in the news again, so people can tune in.
Yeah, because everybody's tuned out.
Yeah.
Since Biden, looks like he's walking down grocery aisles and doesn't know what he needs to get at the grocery store. That's basically the look he has all the time on his face. I did really want to emphasize to people, though, that invest at your own risk with anything, whether it's stocks, bonds, gold, silver, Bitcoin, other cryptocurrencies. I'm not here to tell you what to put your money in, and don't listen to me. I'm an idiot. So do what you think is best for you. If you think holding money in your savings is best for you, I disagree, but that's you. That's your money. Do what you want. I'm not here to tell you what you want. I will tell you this. If you think that putting money in your savings, you own a lot of savings, you don't. When you put money in a bank, you don't own that money anymore. You're third position. The bank owns it. The bank is first position. Then the shareholders are second position. You are third position, meaning if the bank goes belly up, all that money is gone. A lot of people think, oh, but the bank is, insured. If the bank goes belly up, I'll get my money from the government. They got FDIC insurance. FDIC, the government program, is only funded up to 2%. Meaning, if the government collapses, if the dollar collapses, the banks collapse, you're never getting that money back. They're going to take it all and you're never going to see it again. So this is why I personally take my money and I put it in Bitcoin, because they can't take that. They can take everything I have in my account, but they can't take that. So if something really, truly bad does happen, I have something away from the system that I can go to and get for emergencies in case we need it, in case we need to buy, food because we like to eat, or pay for electricity because we like to have lights in our house. So think about that. I'm not telling you what to do. Do whatever you think is best, but talk to your wife, your husband, and make a decision for what's best for you.
Talk to your dog.
Talk to your dog, see what your dog says. And if your dog talks back, let me know, because I'd definitely like to listen to a talking dog. That's fucking nuts.
Heck yeah.
But do your best to, save what you can, because something's coming. And since we're at this crossroads, we don't know where it can go. It can go back to the mainstream and they can take everything away from us, or it can go into a more decentralized, freedom-based, sovereign individual world. And that's the world I'd like to see. And that's the world that I feel like by buying Bitcoin, by buying more and more of it, I'm contributing to. I'm moving us towards that. And I'm trying to really manifest the world that I want to see in my life. And that is a world that is free from control, that is free from masters. And maybe that's not for you. Maybe you're listening, you're like, this guy's crazy. I like my little pod and my kibble and my shots and my, little stipend of unemployment every month. And that's fine. If you like that, that's cool. You do your thing. I'm not here to judge you. I don't like that. So I don't want to live that way. But as long as you do you, don't prevent me from doing me. That's all I ask. That's all I ask.
Live free.
Live free. And
But don't force other people to live the way you picture is right.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Live your life. And I kind of wanted to close off. I had a little kind of positive message that I wanted to send out to you guys. And I'm noticing, we're dealing with a lot of finances. A lot of people think, well, what's easy for you because you have money, Well, money isn't everything. I think love is more important, but don't compare yourself to other people. Don't do that. The only person you can compare yourself to is the you of yesterday, because by comparing yourself to other people, you didn't live their life. They didn't live your life. You're living your life. You're living your experience and your truth, your understanding. All you can do is improve yourself. And as long as you see improvement from yesterday, you're doing fine. Just keep working at it. And that's all life is. It's a process, and you'll get there.
I really like that. Personal growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And money's not everything. So don't worry about all this too much. Stick with your family. Do your best. Do your best for your friends, your family, your neighbors. That's it. That's all you can do. But we're here for you. Come and talk to us. We're at, where can they reach us?
Please email us at frcpodcast@protonmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on this episode and your thoughts on the financial system right now.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to collapse?
We'll see.
What do you think?
We'll see.
Do you think we're crazy? Let us know.
Reach out at Twitter at FRCPod.
Gab and Float, false reality check.
And we'd love to hear you and your thoughts. So just let us know what you think, and hopefully you guys like this episode.
Yeah. And real quick, speaking of Bitcoin, swanbitcoin.com/false reality check. Give
Definitely.
us
Support us by buying Bitcoin yourself.
some stats. Stack some stats.
Sats.
Sorry, stats.
Thanks, guys.